Hello, welcome to Watercolor Cards channel on YouTube. Watercolor Cards teaches creativity as a process. Enjoy that journey. Your creativity expands the more you share it with others. If you haven't joined our watercolor card community, we are on Facebook, and subscribe because we have lots of fun creating watercolor cards for our friends and family. In this video, I'm doing a voiceover of how I painted beautiful clouds and birds to make this beautiful card. I wanted to share a card to a friend that is just kind of changing her life up a little bit, and I thought, why not make a beautiful skyline or skyscape with birds on it? So anyways, I produce content every Thursday is when I publish videos, and I sure appreciate your support, and thank you so much for watching. Alright, to get started, I'm using 140-pound watercolor paper that I cut down from a 9x12 watercolor panel, and then I am using some blue watercolor, cobalt blue, ultramarine blue, lavender, and maybe a tad bit of purple. I am also using a round medium-sized brush, and I'm just getting my watercolor kind of started. I'm waking up the blue. I'm getting the blue that I want on my palette, so it's just easy to grab and go when I paint. This is a very simple exercise. So right now I just have a very, very light wash of water. I'm adding in some lavender from Daniel Smith. It's one of my favorites. It has some ultramarine and I believe some dioxazine purple along with some titanium white, and so you get a really pretty texture, and it's just lovely. A couple tips while I am painting these beautiful clouds is that less is more. When you look at the clouds, you see a lot of white usually and a lot of blue, and so you want to kind of make that a pattern, and so that's why I did a lot of wet into wet for my sky. I will sometimes often go back and add darker, but I do like doing wet into wet for clouds, and I like to do less is more. I let the white of the paper be my white clouds, and then I just add a little bit more where I think I need the bluer skies. So, and it really works well. A lot of wet into wet. I will often tip my paper down as well. That will help move the pigment around, and you just see once I get a first layer on, I can get a second layer on. Pretty simple. And now I'm just kind of wiping away where I don't want the pigment to go. And that is about all for the clouds. I'm just doing indigo and cascading green. It might even be sap green, just whatever you have on your palette. Now I'm going to change up and do some birds, and I just splattered with some blue that was on my palette, and I'm just practicing my birds. I want to get a good shape. I want them all to be a little bit different in size, a little bit different in shape, and it's just fun. It's fun to practice birds. I find that it to be very meditative. Yeah, and so anyways, when I felt like I got enough practice in, I start on my actual painting. But really what I'm doing is I'm kind of doing like this V shape, and then I just kind of make my lines. I kind of do a calligraphy thing where I have soft pressure and hard pressure, and to get them to look like they're in flight. Once I felt like I practiced pretty well, I'm just going to start making some birds. I'm not thinking about it too much. I did want some different sizes and different types of birds, and so I feel like sometimes my brush did a good job of that, and you'll notice me taking my time. I really wanted a lot of birds. I felt like these birds just needed to be kind of at the forefront of the card. Even though I love the sky, I wanted the birds to really shine. So I'm painting more birds than I probably normally would, but I find that this is to be much more enjoyable than trying to stamp a bunch of birds onto my watercolor paper. So if you can paint a V in calligraphy, you can pretty much paint birds. Now, I will say lots of different artists make birds in different ways. This is one way, this is my way. It's not the right way, it's not the wrong way, it's just the way that I do it. Anyways, and then I'm about done. I'll add a couple more just to kind of add to it, and then I call it about done. I balance it out. All right, and then I just have to stamp. I'm using a Misti, which you'll see right here. And I did Enjoy the Journey. I'm using a gray archival safe ink, and there we go. And then I can just put it on my card base, and that's the end of that card. So I will be sending that to a friend that is just kind of going through a transition in her life, and I'm grateful that I was able to spend that time to do that. Anyways, if you found this video to be at all helpful, I would love a subscription. Also, have you painted any cards recently for a friend that is needing a cheered up? If so, I'd love to hear about it. Thanks so much for watching. Happy painting!